Breaking news! Vitor Reis has signed for Manchester City. Officially. I'm so buzzing about this signing because the potential is the key word here. Potential is the key word because a lot of what we see on the YouTube clips show exactly that, potential. The deal is incredibly exciting. It really is. Vitor Reis. That's right, you heard me. Vitor Reis. Not Rice. It's Reis. Apparently, a silent R. Took a little bit of getting used to, but here we are. And hopefully, Manchester City could celebrate this signing in a decade. Because that's what I'm hoping for, because he'll be 29 in a decade. Widely regarded as a generational talent, one of the best up-and-coming young defenders to come out of South America. Palmeiras allowing Manchester City to acquire the services of Vitor Reis for a measly 29.4 million. So that's a big packet, that, isn't it? That's a large amount of money we've coughed up there. And I think a lot of the reason why that fee is as high as it is isn't just the fact that the player has incredible prospects. Like, he looks like he could become something very, very special. But the fact that his contract actually was going to go until 2028 while he was at Palmeiras. So we had to break that contract that still had 3 years left on it, don't forget. So you're going to have to pay big money for a player that it looks as good as he could possibly be. And also the fact that there's so much time left on his contract. You know, we're signing a 19-year-old. I mean, he was 18 as of a week ago. So he's only just turned 19 years old. Don't forget that. So it's exciting. I do think this is someone that we could be looking at for a long period of time as a Manchester City player. And he's been likened to the likes of Murillo, who is 22 years old, now plying his trade for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. But he's got 3 years on Reis. He's got 3 years on him. Lucas Beraldo, another player to come out of the Sao Paulo state of Brazil. He's 21 years old, plying his trade for PSG. 2 players there, Murillo and Beraldo, playing at the top of European football. Forest are second in the Premier League, unbelievable. And of course, PSG in Champions League football. So 2 players that are at the heart of these defences and playing very, very good football as they do that. But Reis, he's got a couple of years to go before he even gets to their age. He himself, I think, believes he could go on to be something like Marquinhos or Thiago Silva. 2 Brazilian legends, Thiago Silva in particular. I mean, if we have him reaching the heights of Thiago Silva, then we've signed an incredible, incredible Brazilian talent there. The style of football, I think, is incredibly interesting as well. But before we talk about the style of football, you're probably going to hear some experts firing stuff at you now, providing stats as well. And I've objected to, I don't really like defensive stats and analysing defenders too much to begin with, because I think there's a lot of grey area when you start using numerical values for defending attributes, because there's too many attributes for defenders that do not have numerical values associated with them. You think about marking, you think about positioning, you think about aggression, you think about leadership qualities. Does he have any of those? Are there numbers out there that can provide you with that information? No, there absolutely is not. But you will still see people try and provide you with these stats to try and give you and enlighten you with information that is bollocks. It's absolute bollocks, to be honest, because this is a player that's got 38 matches to his name, of which more than half of those are youth appearances. He's not playing at the top level. He's got 18 first-team appearances for Palmeiras. So there is absolutely no point in comparing him statistically to cherry-picking random defenders across the world, or even putting him in categories and saying how he compares to defenders in his own league. Because in his own league, he's only got 18 appearances anyway. So it's hardly fair to compare him to players that may have an abundance of career appearances in that same league. We genuinely have to use the eye test for this player. And the eye test is pleasing. I've been pleased by the eye test. I really have. And you also have to factor in the style of football that he's going to have to play at Manchester City. And in the very limited data that we have and the small amount of time that he's been playing at Palmeiras, what style of football do they play? Abel Ferreira, who has been likened to Jose Mourinho, is the coach of Palmeiras as well. Don't forget that, which makes him very much more of a low block type manager. More of a transitional type manager, a hit you on the break type manager, you know, where he's now leaving that style of football and joining Pep Guardiola's style of football, which for me makes you it's a new learning curve you're going to have to go through. You're going to have to go through a massive, massive learning experience to understand the Manchester City ways. But settling in Manchester, first of all, could be difficult for any player. Settling in England when you've come such a young player, coming from Brazil, coming from South America, and settling into the UK could be an interesting job for him. But a lot of South Americans have done that successfully. So I'm hoping he can join that long list of players that have done it successfully and settled into Manchester and in the UK okay as well. So I think that shouldn't be a problem. But in terms of settling into Pep Guardiola's style of play, that's where it's going to get really interesting. And I think Manchester City fans need to understand that this is not going to be a player that's going to be thrown straight in. He's not going to be centre back immediately, game in, game out, for the rest of the Premier League season. This guy's going to be sprinkled in sporadically, pragmatically, methodically. He's going to be gently entered into the scene cautiously by Pep Guardiola, and I think that's understanding. One, considering his age, and two, considering the style of football, that it just takes time to get used to the Manchester City ways. But the hallmarks that he has associated with his style of play absolutely suit Pep Guardiola down to a T. With the fee being reported about at 29.4 million, we could potentially look at this in the future and think, yeah, what a signing that could be as well. And there's also a promising factor that Brighton have had multiple bids rejected for Vitor Reis as well, which is, we all know, if you follow the Premier League and follow Premier League football, you know full well that Brighton's recruitment and their scouting processes are next level. The envy of pretty much the whole Premier League, bar probably us. And I'd still say that I wouldn't mind a couple of the signings that Brighton have made in recent years, that I wished City had gone for those types of players. And we've done that just now because we've acquired this player that Brighton had multiple bids rejected for. So that bodes well. That's promising because their scouts know exactly what they're doing when they acquire young talent and let them flourish and become better players that shine at the top stages. But for me, I think what's interesting is he going to blend well with Kushnerov in the fact that these two players are very, very different in styles. You've got one player who throws himself about. Kushnerov is aggressive, throws himself about so aggressively into those tackles. He will come off that pitch with dirty, dirty shorts. Whereas Reis, he's going to come off clean as a whistle because that's not his style of defending. He's more of a positional defender. One thing that stood out to me was his ability to read what the opposition player is going to do. He seems to already be there. When an attack is forming and an attack seems to be generated, he's already there, positioned himself in the best possible position to defend that scenario. And that, to me, is just, that's that, mate. That's just like, I love the fact that Kushnerov has got that aggression. He likes to defend. He loves the art of defending. But there's different styles of arts in which you can defend. And Reis, to me, could be complemented by the fact that Kushnerov could play alongside him, both incredibly young as well. It's exciting. It's exciting times to be a Manchester City fan. It truly, truly is. What this means for the January transfer window in terms of will there be more signings? I believe there will be. Omar Mamouche sounds incredibly likely, but we do still need that defensive midfielder. It has to happen. But will it happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding on to